Margaret, congratulations, sir. When members of Black Lives Matter went to a pro-Trump rally in D.C., they were prepared to protest. Even they expected a clash, right? But what they did not expect was this.
We're going to give you 2 minutes of our platform to put your message out. Now, whether they disagree or agree with your message is irrelevant. It's the fact that you have the right to have the message.
I am an American. And the beauty of America is that when you see something broke in your country, you can mobilize to fix it. So you ask why there's a Black Lives Matter? Because you can watch a black man die and be choked to death on television and nothing happened. We need to address that.
All right, that was a bit of the video from Now This Is Politics. Hawk Newsom is the president of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York. You were the one who put out this video, and you sent out a sort of press release about this incident. Why do you think it's so important?
Being in Charlottesville and speaking to people on both sides of the issue, I mean, you know, both black, white, I mean, trans, you name it, gay, men, women, everyone feels the same way. We're on the verge of a civil war. And the only way to avoid that is by communicating. Now, we are a very, militant group, and we're focused on black liberation, but at some point, we're going to have to talk to the other side. We are all rational Americans at our core who care about this country, who despise injustice. But at some point, we have to clear away the rhetoric and really speak to each other as people. And I think
were you surprised that Trump supporter who was holding his own rally suddenly invited you on stage?
That was the last thing I expected to happen, to be perfectly honest.
Would Black Lives Matter have done the same?
I can't say that we would have. This was a first-time type of occurrence. It was hostile. Before we were invited up on that stage, we were surrounded by militias. We were surrounded by Bikers for Trump. We were surrounded by hundreds of people from the audience. We were outnumbered 100 to 1. So, I mean, we weren't afraid. We were ready to stand and fight for what we believed. But that wasn't what the situation called for. The situation called for words, for love, for compassion, as opposed to words of anger and fist of fury, so to speak.
Although I will say that the crowd got a little heated when you brought up police shootings, and I just want to play a bit of that video for our viewers.
We are not anti-cop. We are anti-bad cop. We say if a cop is bad, he needs to get fired like a black plumber, like a bad lawyer, like a bad fucking politician.
Okay, so I would say that Trump supporters are not for bad police officers either. You got to weed out the bad ones, right? And we all agree that there are bad professionals in every profession, right?
Exactly.
But I think that people are confused about your slogan, Black Lives Matter, because it seems to them that you're only thinking about black lives and not all lives.
As Christians, as concerned people, we care about everyone. The reason why we march in these streets is because we love people. We fight for people. So we're not saying that it's only Black Lives Matter. We're saying right now, in America, Black Lives Matter the absolute least when it comes to the American justice system. So what we march, what we chant is all lives will matter when Black Lives matter. When Black lives are lost, there is no recourse. There is no compassion. When a black person dies, they are vilified. Their criminal history comes up and they are vilified. Police go through long, drawn-out trials in which they're vindicated. Their actions are found to be justified. However, you have a young blonde woman who was shot in Minnesota And within 2 days, the officers were fired. So we're not saying look at it as black and white. Look at it as right and wrong. Just look at the facts and say, hey.
Well, let me ask you this: that man who invited you on stage, that Trump supporter, have you remained in contact with him? And would it be possible for you both to get together and go on a speaking tour to show that there can be a dialogue between two sides who adamantly disagree with one another?
If we have to step up and be an example, I'm not perfect. I'm sure he's not perfect. But if we can step up like we did on that day and be an example and spread some hope, spread some light into some very dark places, I'm all for that.
And just a final question, because I'm curious. Black Lives Matter, I mean, it's a large group, splinter group. Do you think that other members of Black Lives Matter who are watching this interview would be pleased with what you're saying?
No. There are some of us who are completely anti-cop, right? Now, when I say bad cop, I say the bad police and the other police who cover up for them, right? So when you have a killing like Eric Garner and this man is choked to death, there should be other police who come forward and say this is wrong. So what we have is people on our side, and Black Lives Matter Greater New York is not part of the network. You have people who are part of the official network who are like, no, you shouldn't have spoken to Trump supporters. You are not part of our network. How dare you speak on our behalf? But the term Black Lives Matter is synonymous with like the civil rights movement. Who really has ownership of the whole thing? Now, the women who created it are magnificent visionaries, and I don't go against them. I believe in their principles, but we just move in a different direction. And if anyone wants to check out Black Lives Matter Greater New York or Hawk Newsom, you'll see that we are the premier organization in New York City.
I will definitely do that, and this has been a fascinating conversation. I wish it could go on. Hawk Newsom, thank you so much for being with me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. Power to the people.
The fight over health care has